Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this semi-final match. We are getting underway pretty quickly with Samurai in Jeans versus Against All Authority. I am Spuddington, and today, for at least this semi-final match, I will be solo casting for you. So we do have some bands coming in. We've got Rumble, we've got Shen, we've got Twisted Fate. Nothing too untoward apart from the Rumble band, which honestly I haven't seen too much play of lately. He's ever since the nerf to him. His Flame Spitter damage, his Electro Harpoon damage, in fact pretty much his damage across the board, and the kind of swap around of that danger zone mechanic where it now does a little bit more damage for the Flame Spitter in the danger zone, but does vastly less without it for the Flame Spitter. Not seen too much of him. My own personal experiences has made him very, very fiddly to play correctly, and even if you do, the rewards aren't as great as you'd think. But his ultimate is still a game changer, and in the right hands, he's still very, very dangerous, very, very difficult to deal with. He's one of those characters that never quite seems to ever get nerfed completely out of competitive play. Being said, he is a ban, so presumably targeted at one of those players. For instance, say Glucose, were he to play that. Not that I think I've actually seen him play it lately. I don't know. Seems a little odd. We have seen quite a lot of Against All Authority in this tournament thus far, and I don't recall him ever running the Rumble. That could be my goldfish memory though. So, yeah, whatever. Shen, Twisted Fate, Nunu, Nautilus, Zac though. Those are all just standard house cleaning bans, to be honest. You don't want to deal with Twisted Fate's pressure on the map, you don't want to deal with Shen split pushing, you don't want to deal with Nunu's counter jungle transition into a really strong utility tank jungler, you don't want to deal with Nautilus and Zac, both very, very strong CC heavy, well, Nautilus very CC heavy, Zac quite high damage, tank junglers, and Zac is fairly CC heavy as well. So just that's kind of the quick rundown there, but we are waiting on Young Buck here to at least pick out the character. We are on the tournament client, so no placeholder picks, nothing like that. We will just swap things around when it proves necessary. And there's nothing much to be said. It is a blank spot there in that Champion Select box. 3 seconds left. I'm hoping he hasn't disconnected, because that would be awkward. But we are seeing the Malphite pick up, so uncommon to see a first pick Malphite. It's somewhat open to being countered. For instance, Rumble, which is probably why they banned it actually. Guys like Malphite, guys like Vlad really give a very, very hard time. Guys like Elise to Malphite in the lane. And he's Unstoppable Force is an incredibly useful ability. It is literally an unstoppable force. It is impossible to stop him from initiating a fight if he wants to. Huge range as well. The problem is he pays some serious prices for that. If he does engage, his follow-up is pretty much an attack speed slow, and that's good, but it's not gonna really lock people down. It's not like being in an Amumu lockdown. It's not like having that follow-up. And the problem with the range is that if he goes too far ahead of his team, then he's just going to end up achieving very, very little indeed, because by the time the rest of his team is caught up, they're not actually going to be CC'd anymore, so they'll just walk away. And still, it is kind of a signal of intent. It's like saying we are going to be playing quite an aggressive game. He has taken that, he's taken that teleport. We'll see if he actually runs with it in the long run. Still, going to be interesting to see how he copes if he's up against Elise in that top lane. You can try just going for, that Chalice early on and try and sustain through the damage with Flask and healing and all the rest of it, but it's never going to be an easy lane. We do also see Caitlyn Sona picked up, pretty much saying we're going to poke quite a lot, whether in a 2v1 lane or in a 1-on-1, 2-on-2 lane. That's going to mean they just have tons and tons of damage to put down on whoever is in that lane. Sona not quite the fastest pushing support, but Caitlyn will more than make up for that. So synergizes with the AoE on Malphite. It's a very good, solid couple of picks there. And up against that, though, we have probably a who's who of who's played and banned quite a lot. Currently coming out of Against All Authority. I mean, Thresh, Jace, those are really, really top tier picks. Jarvan the Fourth, very, very much up there. Elise, still very, very much a top tier character at the moment. Not seen banned too much, but certainly seen played a lot. So Not surprised to see them picking up all these characters. The only worry, of course, is that they could be committing a little bit hard to get these power picks and not thinking about the team composition, but I doubt that's the case here. They have got a very large amount of mobility, in fact. Thinking about it, they've got Acceleration Gate, they've got the Lantern, they've got Flag and Drag Cataclysm, they've got Elise Repel, they've got Ezreal if they lock it in here. I mean, that's some quick movement around the map, and that just facilitates their ability to catch people out, take that one guy out, then force the 4v5. It's been said time and time again, but it's the standard play when you're running a very single target focused setup like theirs. What they're going to be up against, those Samurai Jeans, they've taken a lot of characters that aren't particularly popular. I mean, Xin Zhao had his time in the sun, but he's a little bit less popular now. He does still do quite a lot of damage with absolutely no items, though. It is difficult to have him in your team without him falling off later on, though. It can also be difficult to kind of close the gap on someone like Ezreal because he's only got one gap closer, and he has to land 3 attacks if he wants to actually get that knock up after that. Can be a little bit awkward. Ezreal will just kind of say, "Haha, I'm Ezreal," and Arcane Shift out. That can cause some issues, but wouldn't be too surprised to see him managing some things in the early game. As I mentioned, his early game damage is very, very high, and that can really facilitate ganks, much as Jarvan the Fourth does. It's just that Jarvan the Fourth seems to transition a little bit better into that mid-game, late-game. But anyway, while we wait for the delay timer to tick down and the game to start, we will just go into a quick commercial break, so see you in just a couple of minutes. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the actual game between Against All Authority and Samurai in Jeans. We are getting underway, as has been mentioned, and it does look like we are seeing some aggressive looking pings on the map. Red pings in the enemy jungle, and it does look like they are spreading out, so maybe not going to be looking so aggressive after all. Just looking to get that ward down. Pose puts that in the banana brush. That will give them that little bit of extra vision. Nice to have at this stage. Covers your own jungle entrance, covers the enemy jungle entrance. Just generally nice spot to have warded, and Kaostv is now going to be spotting this out. When they come in here, we have got that ward down. No first blood fishing. You do sometimes see teams go for the strategy of just all dogpiling in that little brush that did just get warded in the hopes that someone will walk in and check it. But I suspect no one wanted to stand in there because they are up against Thresh. And, well, if you're trying to do that first blood fishing and a hook lands in the middle of you, that can suddenly get very, very awkward. But it does look like both teams are just going to back out. We do see quite a few wards across the map. We have the blue wards in the top, blue wards in that banana brush as well. And that's just going to give them that little bit of extra jungle warning. That top laner, in the form of Young Buck, should be just that little bit safer. And I do have a feeling that the swap up has come in here. You've got Ezreal and Thresh going to that top lane. They will take those golems out. It will be fairly simple for them to do so. The thing is here, they're going to be up against Malphite. Malphite will be quite difficult for them to push around, but I think it's just they did not want to have to deal with both Caitlyn and Sona with that golem advantage. The only thing I query is why, in so doing, they're willing to not put Elise up against Malphite and Glucose. Nobody saw that ward. But, yeah. Still, going to be interested to see how they go to play this. Young Buck does have teleport and 5 pots, so he should be pretty okay. And it does seem like he was predicting he would be against Elise, I suspect. Otherwise, I think we would see him with the cloth armor. But, again, shouldn't be too big of a deal for him. He's just going to try and stay in XP range, and so long as he can do that, he's going to be relevant. He's going to be a big mid-game powerhouse threat with that ultimate. It does feel at the moment as though Pose is warding him around, but it's not going to really force off Malphite. Malphite knows he has that shield. He can afford to take an auto attack from Thresh and just won't really care. So we'll probably be determined what happens in this lane by jungler intervention. If Jarvan can gank Malphite, who isn't going to be particularly squishy early on, but could potentially get taken out, we do in fact see Amazingly hanging around the mid lane now. He's not actually going in there. Does look like he's just going to back out in, in short order. No, I think he just basically thought there he might have been able to get something, or he might have been able to get baited out by Lego, but in the end it was just Kaostv being a little bit too passive for him. So he just said, alright, fine, back to farming. Wow, Young Buck has taken a lot of poke in that top lane. I did not see that. I presume, however, that was a death sentence and a very good ward there from Pose. And that back tri-brush behind the tower, that could be very, very key, preventing them from getting ganked. That means they can afford to play even more aggressively in this top lane in the 2v1 scenario. And Amazingly is definitely thinking something is going to happen in this mid lane. We've actually got a fight in the top lane. Young Buck has been dived. He has got that death sentence on him, I suspect. And Tsuchi takes him out, but actually goes down in the process. So that gives him first blood gold, and that is an advantage. And we do see V-Power in this mid lane Coming in now, has got that red buff, has got that blue buff. Amazing, he comes in with the counter. Taunt goes down, doesn't actually land. Flag and drag whiffs, and V-Power jumps straight to Amazing, but he is still on the back foot here. He's going to have to get out of this very carefully. We've got the teleport coming in behind V-Power. Young Buck there coming in. We have got Lego My Ego just kind of trying to walk on out. Young Buck does not have the damage to bring him down, and it does look like it's just going to be a hop, skip, and a jump back out of the lane here. Do see Amazing, he returning to go farm that jungle. Won't be any huge kills happening in the immediate term. But as I was saying, when they sacrificed Tsuchi's life in order to get that first blood, it was probably worth it. It's cost Young Buck a lot of farm. It's cost Young Buck, you know, his life, and it's given Ezreal that first blood bonus, but it has put them significantly behind in this pushing race. You see the bottom tower right now. Glucose is doing actually a pretty sterling job of keeping it up, but given that it's now on, what, 490 health as compared to 2,100, you can see why Amazing he is actually heading down there now to try and give Glucose a little bit of relief. He's running out of pots, and the tower is definitely running out of health. Trying to force him off with that stun, doesn't land, will be in turn, backing out a little bit. We do now see Xin Zhao coming around. A little known fact about Xin Zhao is he actually destroys towers like they're not even there. 3 Talent Strike does proc on the tower with the full damage, as far as I'm aware, and that means he will just wreck this. And in fact, there we are. We see him coming in, does do the damage, does take the tower. So putting them a little bit ahead in that pushing advantage, going to give them that little bit of control over the map, and they may look to go for a dragon fairly shortly. Would be surprised to see them go for it right now, because it would be very predictable were they to do so. V-Power is in fact recalling. We do see Reckless farming with the net for style points. Everyone is just playing it fairly carefully now. Ezreal and Thresh are looking to make up some ground now, though. They want to put the damage on this tower. If they can manage it, that will suit them pretty well, but it's going to be difficult. Young Buck has that attack speed slow. He's tanky. He's willing to walk up to them, take a bit of damage to keep his tower up, and there's a lot of health to chew through on that tower. We, in fact, are going to be seeing Sona and Caitlyn heading up there, as well as Xin Zhao. So we might see some impressive ganking action here. We do in turn see mid. Kaostv could be in trouble here. Pops the ultimate. Does manage to get out as a result. Glucose came in. Stun whiffs. We do see now Malphite in the top lane. Continuing to be here. He's not going to hit 6 quite yet. If he did, he would be a lot more scary to deal with as that bot lane of Against All Authority, because, well, level 6 Malphite can really set up kills well. Just jumping in with that unstoppable force, almost impossible to predict it, because the jungler can come from any angle you care to mention, and you won't have any forewarning with that Malphite. He'll set you up pretty well. Having said, you do have to have the damage to finish them off. Xin Zhao does finish off pretty well, though, as I mentioned in the early game. Pretty good damage. And we are seeing Xin Zhao actually, in this case, maxing his E, the Audacious Charge. As far as I'm aware, I thought that was no longer the done thing on Xin Zhao. Far be it from me to question challenger tier junglers, but it's, as far as I was aware, the damage scaling on it was nerfed quite heavily the last time Xin himself was nerfed. And we are seeing Caitlyn and now Sona pushing this top tower pretty hard. We are just seeing Tsuchi actually pretty much taking it. Actually, the Flay goes down, and Unlimited did do a little bit of damage. Hook misses, though, so nothing coming of that. That was a little bit close for comfort, though. We will see now Reckless just continuing to push this, and I think there's not much that Tsuchi can do to answer. He can't really try and all-in them here, and he doesn't have the ability to poke through the minions, so this is just going to be continued pressure until Amazing can appear. Amazing will have a very good chance, though, of getting some ganks down here. There he is, ganking a Thresh lane if they go for it, and that means Lantern. Lantern means huge gap closing potential. Thresh Flash is also up, so if we were to see, you know, Thresh just toss back the Lantern, Jarvan takes it, then Thresh flashes forward on the enemy, then you see Jarvan jumping in with that Flag and Drag and with the Cataclysm. It's ridiculous gap closing in a very, very short order. And we are seeing Reckless being a little bit more passive now about pushing out this lane. Pose actually walks in for the Flay, does not manage to land it. Pink Ward is in that top jungle there. We do see Ahri and Xin actually relatively close, and Amazing has been spotted out here, so not going to be happening, not going to be getting anywhere with that. Does look like he might rotate around and try and look for another gank, but they are very, very thoroughly warded here in this top lane. Being said, now that that ward has been cleared out in the top brush, Jarvan could go around for a second try, but I don't think he will. In fact, Lego My Ego in the mid lane is not going to get ganked there. Does just escape. He could go around for another try, but the thing is, that's a very predictable move. That's something that Samurai and Jeans will think, well, he could go around for another try. That being said, he could use the Lantern this time. And in fact, he's trying to stay out of range of the minions' line of sight. We do see Elise now in this bottom jungle, and we'll try and watch the top though. Flag and drag comes in. Crescendo goes across. We do see the damage coming in. That's a free kill there. Elise did manage to get away in that bottom jungle as well. Does look like the Samurai and Jeans mid and top laner. He's bot. It's confusing. His mid, top, and jungle will be moving in for that dragon. They should be able to pick that up, but in return they're going to lose that top tower. Glucose is just going to continue farming out in this bottom lane. That won't be a trade that's going to upset anyone, to be honest. Gold difference-wise, it will still put Against All Authority a little bit ahead, but Samurai and Jeans are still on very much equal footing at the moment. They aren't really falling behind on any front. You know, you've got that one death on Caitlyn to the, one kill, one death on Ezreal. Not a big difference. Mid lane, 81 farms to 101. Pretty good work by Lego to get that farm done. But he's not going to be particularly, saying, oh, I've dominated this lane. It's significant, though. It is definitely a worthy note there to make. And we do see him actually there going in with a lot of suddenly deciding he really wants to clear out that minion wave. So now maybe looking for some roaming opportunity. No, just wanted to go ward it. He's just going to be continuing to farm out. And I feel like he's feeling very paranoid at the moment, Lego My Ego. He's putting out Shock Blast. And that ward there will give him that vision he wants. If he wants to go for those sniper shots on Kaostv, the Shock Blast's range is longer than his own vision. So if he wants to land those spears, Nidalee players. We do actually see him going in on the mid lane. The hook doesn't land though, so close. And the teleport is coming in. We now have Ahri going aggressive, going in with the ultimate. Malphite, unstoppable force. Jarvan coming in from the side. Lego My Ego does go down though. And that is actually a backfired gank quite significantly. Good teleport there from Young Buck. Does get all his summoners and his ultimate burned, but that's a kill, and it's also a pushing position advantage. They are now going for this aggressive push on the mid lane. Ezreal is not there to try and stop them. Glucose will come in from the side. Elise will want to do something about this. If he can get there, we do have the hook going down. A flag and drag goes up. We've actually now got quite a lot of damage on V-Power. They're going to be chasing this off the tower, though. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to go aggressive. They are going to. Cataclysm into the middle. Crescendo goes across. Amazing. He's getting bursted down really hard. He does get destroyed as a result. And Glucose much the same. A little bit of an interesting decision there. Suchi goes aggressive. Does actually possibly pick up Kaostv there, and Pose now getting a little bit pushed back, but 1 for 2 trade. Not sure that was quite what they wanted, but it has stymied this push, given Lego My Ego the time to respawn and get back into the fight. Suchi and Pose, I expect to go back now. Would be surprised if they went to that bottom lane to stop Malphite from pushing solo like this, but does look like they're going to. And in fact, that could cost them a serious amount of life. We do in fact see Lego My Ego getting aggressive on the unlimited. Free kill there with the hammer form punching him in the face. That being said, they know where Tsuchi is. They know Young Buck is in the area now, so he's actually probably going to get away with it. Does look like Tsuchi will be okay to farm this out. Does have that Vamp Scepter anyway, so he's getting a little bit of health back. And we will see Jace pick up the blue buff pretty much uncontested. So 4 for 4 and very equal gold at the moment. In fact, there's probably about 50 in it across the board. Question therefore becomes, who is going to start to have the advantage as this game drags onwards in towards that mid-game phase? Could probably pretty reasonably say we're already in the mid-game, but the question is who's going to have the advantage now. And I've got to say, at the moment, I actually really quite like Samurai and Jean's composition. They have a lot of just straight up damage at this stage of the game, and they have a lot of ability to catch you out. They have a lot of just guys that can jump in from a mile away take you down very low, and then have, you know, the follow-up from Caitlyn at the back. It just means because you've got 3 people with long-range dashes and CC on pretty much a similar cooldown. So we've got, you know, Xin will jump over the wall. You've got Malphite who can jump in with the Unstoppable Force, then you get the Xin follow-up, then you get the Ahri over the wall. And it's very, very much conceivable that you could see someone get picked off. At the moment, though, Against All Authority have done a pretty good job of avoiding that on the whole. They're pushing carefully, they're making sure stuff is warded where it's appropriate, and that is giving them just, I'd say, a little bit of an edge at this time. We will soon see Lego My Ego's tier getting farmed up, and we do have a pause coming in. So I suspect you will be seeing a break screen. Wait, Smuggy? Alright, so the streamer, our producer Bass, the lovely man, did just disconnect for some reason. So that was a little bit odd. I don't really know quite what happened there. You're very, very quiet, Bass. I can't hear you, and I don't even know if the viewers can hear you. Alright. Well, that... C'est la vie. We're just kind of waiting now on that rejoin. Players have actually mentioned that maybe running that rule where you're not allowed to even talk about game-related stuff. I don't know if there's actually any enforcement on that rule, given that this is an online tournament. That would be a very impractical rule to enforce, but, well, whatever. That's just how it is, and if the players choose to be honourable, that is their prerogative. Question is, who is going to have the advantage in this mid-game? It's very difficult to call, to be honest. As I've mentioned before, both of these teams have strong picking potential. Both of them have actually also pretty decent AoE. Not fabulous 5-man AoE ultimate compositions, you know, like everyone is Annie kind of style. But you do have very, very solid, very solid damage. You've got that Java Catalysm to lock people down. You've got Shock Blast, which people kind of underestimate as an AoE. And, you know, you've got Ezreal Ultimate, stuff like that. Pretty decent. He will pick up that Iceborne at some point as well. Give him a little bit of damage. And we do see some chat about Skarner in a light that I never wished to see in the chat. You may see some of that when we rejoin the action. We do have, you know, and the AoE composition that their opponents are running. Here's that Malphite. You do, well, he is classic AoE Ultimate. Quite a lot of damage on it, 1-to-1 ratio with AP. I doubt he's going to build any AP, but you never do know. Might build Tactical Nuclear Malphite, where you use Deathfire Grasp, and then you ultimate, and you can actually fire Deathfire Grasp while ulting, which is amazing. But it's not particularly actually good, though, so don't do it. But you can do it. It's fun. Still, AoE coming out from them. They've got that Malphite. They've got that Sona. They've got that Ahri. That's potentially a fair amount of damage to come out in that AoE situation. That being said, like I say, it's not a huge AoE. It's not multiple AoE ultimates all stacked on top. It's not something you can say, we can never 5v5 these guys, they will destroy us. It's more like, if they get the situations correct, then it will work for them. If not, though, they're not going to be too bothered. They'll just play it as kind of single target damage instead. So we are continuing to see this pause timer. We have I've been going for about 3 minutes 30, and I've honestly run out of things to say at this point. We have, you know, we've got pretty much equal across the board goal. We've got very equal players, and I think we're just going to have to go to a break. Oh, wait, actually, no, Unlimited is reconnected. I was just about to say we were going to go to a break because I'd horribly run out of things to say. So no huge problem. And it does look like we'll get underway fairly quickly. So you've been saved from me blathering about random anecdotes. I wouldn't be surprised if I had resorted to that had that continued. But we do get underway again. We do see Young Buck in that bottom lane actually not moving. Nope. Okay, there we go. He's off. He's off. Did see Tucci, rather good guy Tucci saying, you know, is Young Buck AFK because he was standing. Lego My Ego actually in the mid lane. There's a bit of a fight going down. We have got Cataclysm on V-Power. V-Power gets locked down under the tower and then gets killed. We do see Lego My Ego though going down in that fight, and he's not going to be too pleased about that. He's now 1-2-1. Not such a good situation for him there. Has picked up that man immune now though, so he's going to start to really hurt soon. That being said, we do in turn see that Thresh is coming in here, coming in there with the hook on the creep, and then just kind of standing around. I think he realized he wasn't going to really hit with that flay and just decided to kind of scare him off. It's intimidation tactics. There you go. But Jace's deaths are starting to add up at this point, and that's really kind of cancelling out that difference between himself and Ahri. I think Samurai and Jeans have not yet been in the lead before. They have now managed to do so though, so it will be in a you know, pretty good spot for this push coming in. But Lego My Ego at this stage, tons of damage on the creeps. He does gib waves very quickly. In fact, gives the melee creeps in one shot with the empowered shot blast, which is really significant damage. And there we go, Kaostv taking another bit of damage in turn. We are seeing them just kind of playing the poke game, but there is always a risk they could get caught out. Wow, that damage is just... it's nasty. You really have to play well to deal with that kind of shock blast harass. And you have to make sure you have that vision and then look for a fight if you can. V-Power coming around. We do see the flag dropped, and we do in turn see the wards being cleared on the dragon. Does look like this is very much going to be the next point of contention. Young Buck has that teleport up. There are plenty of wards to jump around to. Lego My Ego, they're getting a little bit threatening. And it does look like Samurai and Jeans are going for the counter push on this mid lane. They are going to pick that up. And now it does look like they could be a little bit overcommitted against all authority. Are actually going to get engaged upon. Malphite goes down. Glucose is going to be low. He is actually managing to repel out, but he's only just going to put down a little bit more damage before dying. Ignite is down on V-Power, but V-Power is still pretty much healthy. Lego My Ego unable to take anyone out. And the same can be said of Tucci. And that has not worked out well for Against All Authority. Kaostv escapes on a sliver of health, but they might be able to make some small pushing advantage now. Lego My Ego and Tucci being up are still very strong and on pretty good health because they were keeping themselves safe in that fight. Unable to really put down the damage though because they were zoned out by that aggressive bruiser setup. But we do see Malphite now coming in with the teleport just to kind of clear them off that tower. They're not going to be... Against All Authority definitely lost that fight. They definitely lost two guys, and now they're actually going to potentially look to stop this dragon attempt. That could be a little bit difficult for them, though. They are in a 4-on-2. Tucci putting down some damage on Young Bucks, same from Lego My Ego, but I just don't think they can reasonably stop them. The poke is coming down, though. They aren't going to be able to manage this. Young Buck has no ultimate. That charm was very close to Tucci there. If that had hit, that could have been disastrous for him. Stun misses from Glucose, and now I think we're just going to see Against All Authority returning to that mid lane, going for that aggressive push. They do have all their men in one area, and that means they have that potential to take the tower before anyone can get back there from Samurai and Jeans. They have a lot of damage to put down, but can Young Buck stop them here? He's walking in, going in with that threatening presence. He does have not enough damage though, so... ooh, are they going to be able to get this? The poke comes down, the shot blast comes down. They keep pushing, keep going for that death sentence. There we go, knockup goes down on V-Power. V-Power is in a bit of trouble here. Cataclysm down on him, Elise down on him. He's going to be in a bit of trouble. Tucci has been charged. Tucci now in, is actually going to be able to get out of there pretty much unscathed. There was no real follow-up to the charm. So he's going to be okay there, and that is a good tower take there from Against All Authority. They are still a little bit behind though, and that could cause them some problems as time goes by. At this stage of the game though, 2,000 gold, relatively small, but what we saw in that previous fight was that Samurai and Jeans have the potential to really rock the fight. If they can get that Malphite to just zone out both Lego My Ego and Tucci at once, that can cause some real problems. And we actually now see Unlimited and Pose going to be saying, hey, that's a support fight, but Ahri is in, crashing the party there. Can she take him out? He's actually going to hook over to the Wraiths, but they weren't up, so he's doomed. There we go, in a bit of a problem, but the flash comes down, the flag, but no drag. He hasn't got the mana, and even if he had, it would have missed. So that was not, that was amazingly there, acting perhaps a little bit without thinking, not quite working out for him. This is kind of one of those pressure situations though, so can't really blame him on that front. Still. I was just shifting around in my chair, and I have the creakiest chair known to man, so I decided not to subject you to that particular noise. We do see Young Bluck now playing the kind of pushing game. The thing is, he doesn't have his teleport right now, and they're definitely going to be aware of that on Against All Authority. The only thing, though, is that it's going to be difficult for them to force an objective before Malphite can react at the moment. If they were to go for Baron, they could probably be contested 4-on-5. It's too early in the game to take it so easily. If they were to go for that top tower, that would require them to walk a long way out, and they could definitely tell ahead of time. Just seeing everyone on the map disappear would be like, okay, where are they? I guess I'll recall. And then from there, Home Guard boots would mean he would get there very, very quickly indeed. So Young Buck just being a rock, being pretty sensible, being in that bottom lane. He's going to be waiting mostly for that teleport cooldown to come back up, though. It does seem at the moment that Glucose Elise is unwilling to deal with him, though. So he may have just reached a point where he's too tanky for her to take down, and he kind of bleeds her slowly with that sustain and with that tankiness himself. He does have that Sunfire Cape, which is very significant in this stage of the game. Quite a lot of damage can come out of it, and that can cause some serious problems if someone like Elise gets hit in the face, and then you just kind of have an angry Malphite on you, punching you, just kind of slowly bleeding you down. Still, we are now seeing Caitlyn and Sona heading towards that banana brush. I don't really know what they're after, maybe just looking to get some ward control here. They know it's pinked, presumably because that pink will have been put down to clear their own wards. Unlimited has gone for the tactical nuclear option in terms of support ward fights. It's going to be that Oracle's Elixir. Has got that relatively recently, so got another couple of minutes to time down on that. And Tsuji now is a little bit paranoid. You don't think he has the wards here, but he's going to have to play very, very carefully, and that push could be seriously bad actually here. We are going to be seeing the damage on the tower coming down very quickly indeed, doing a lot of it, and the hook misses again. Pose coming very, very close several times now to key game-changing hooks, but not able to get them. Samurai and Jeans there playing the vision control game now. They have got a serious advantage at the moment in the vision control because they have that Oracle, because their opponents do not. It means they can just clear out the wards, and then when they rotate somewhere, their opponents just do not know where they are, and they cannot necessarily react in time. We do see Unlimited there taking a bit of poke. Charm goes down. Poe is actually in a bit of trouble. Amazing in the middle now. We do see the damage on Lego My Ego. He's being dived at the back here, but he has flashed out. He's now going to be putting down Shock Blast from the back. We do see Kaostv doing much the same with his Q. We in turn see damage coming in from Tsuji. Tsuji is pretty much unmolested at this point. He's doing a lot of damage. Going to be trying to take out everyone here. Triple kill comes down. And that could be a quadra after this. And there we go. Quadra kill on Tsuji. He is doing work now for his team. That is going to be huge. That could be... Ooh. Actually, I'm not sure they want to risk Baron. that might be pushing it a bit. But they are going to take at least one more tower. And they have to be careful they don't overstay. But when Tsuji goes back, he's going to have 2,300 gold. That is a lot of sudden item increase on him. He is going to be scary in the future. And I feel like maybe the problem was a little bit that Samurai and Jeans focused a bit hard on taking out Lego My Ego. He flashed out and was able to then put most of the kind of fight, because it was a very compact area, he just kind of had multiple people right in the way when he flashed backwards to get out of that aggro. And that in turn just let Tsuji sit on the back line. A lot of cooldowns were expended on Lego My Ego, and he was still able to put out some damage. Good setup for him. And that means that Tsuji is, pretty much set for life now, actually. He's going to go back 2,600 gold. I'd expect he'll want a little bit more, and then he'll go for that Iceborne Gauntlet, which will be suddenly very, very brutal. Will give him that kiting. I feel he's going to want that kiting as well. That will give him that presence in the team fight, that ability to just keep himself, well, a little bit safer than he would be otherwise. But anyway, we'll see what he buys when he goes back. I could, of course, be woefully wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. We are going to be seeing what he picks up, though. There we go. Iceborne Gauntlet. Pretty much the standard Ezreal blue build at the moment. He's actually gone for that Spirit of the Elder Lizard and the Bloodthirster, though, which is a little bit different from the usual. Like to see Manamune and Muramana. We do see Pose now getting aggressed upon by Young Buck. but not quite close enough, the rest of his team there, to follow it up. So Unlimited still playing this vision game. He did not lose that oracles in that last fight, so it didn't cost them too much. They lost a tower and they lost, you know, they fed Tsuchi, which is quite bad, but it's not going to be a disastrous thing for them. And we are seeing another pause coming in, so lag coming in again, no huge problem, hopefully. Nobody has actually disconnected this time around, which is preferable. We will see, though, if we can manage to... okay, lag, okay, fixed. Punched by bro, according to Amazing. So, got about... go, there we go. Yep, just a 30-second pause, giving you a little bit of time to catch your breath there, ladies and gentlemen. Because I know, action-packed, isn't it? We do see Glucose in this mid lane now. Coming around, heading towards this this creep wave. Could be going for that, but I know he's going to leave that to Lego. Lego being a nice guy, just saying I'm going to take all the farm. Elise, though, is a character that we have seen run in the support position precisely because she can function on very little gold. She, with the percent damages, magic penetration is probably the king thing, and being tanky is nice as well, so she can get aggressive in the middle. But she doesn't need these things. She doesn't need them, and her AP ratios are okay. They're not actually that brilliant. She, you know, her damage will scale decently from AP, but it won't be like I'm gonna rush a Rabadons on this character because then I will 100-0 you. She'd be much better off rushing like an Abyssal, because that would probably... Actually, if Abyssal is your first item, I have a feeling in the early game it does roughly the same damage as a Rabadons. It's just that the aura range is it's reliant on having that aura range. Anyway, regardless, V-Power gonna be in this top lane. Kaostv, Reckless 2 with a hook, misses from pose. No surprises there, but we are seeing this kind of the stymie on the push. We are seeing Young Buck, though, pushing in the mid lane. Does now have his teleport available, so he can afford to do this quite a lot. And Amazing he will be coming in. We're going to clear that wave out. Not going to be actually getting aggressive. Pointless to try. So he's just going to be waiting this out. Unlimited's Oracle now. Probably got about 2 more minutes on that. Could take a little bit of time to get something done with that. I'm just curious, because Samurai Jeans in that last fight had some serious problems focusing out the right people. So I feel like they're going to be very, very cautious about how they fight the next one. In fact, they may just look to stall the game now for a very long period of time, because Caitlyn in that late game, this is probably Caitlyn's weakest period at the moment, actually starting to actually get strong again, but this is Caitlyn's kind of weak period. She has that same power curve that Tristana has, where her early game is really, really strong. Her mid game, the abilities kind of fall off a bit, and like she's not that brilliant. But then she hits the late game, she has that range and she has that damage. It's not as extreme as Tristana. She's stronger in the mid game and weaker in the late game. But yeah, if they let Caitlyn just farm up, get that 3-4 item build, she's going to start to be able to just put out lots of damage. And then it takes the emphasis off Samurai and Jeans. They don't have to then focus out people. They just need to let Caitlyn put down her damage and make sure she's protected. That's it opens up more options for them the longer Caitlyn gets more and more farm. And worth noting, Reckless at the moment, 274 farm. That's the highest in the game by about 25 over that Jace, which is significant. It's not going to be world ending at this point. 20 CS is, but it is just significant. It's, you know, it's nice little bit of chunk of change. Not going to mean she is a world destroying monster at this point, though. She is still without armor penetration, and that can be a serious problem when you're trying to focus down people like Jarmander the 4th with the Madrid, with the Runic Bulwark now, and with the actually surprisingly little armor. I've got to say, only 157, which is still quite a lot, but I'm surprised. And we do see now like Samurai and Jeans hanging around this Baron area. They've cleared it out with that Oracles, and it does seem like Unlimited's Oracles has now run out. But they are just playing very carefully here. Amazing, he has been spotted out. Could get some aggression on him. Charm goes down, doesn't hit. We are continuing to see this kind of slight, and that was some Matrix stuff right there from V-Power, dodging the shock blast with the audacious charge. That was I doubt it was intentional, but if it was superlative. And we actually see the engage. They're going in with this. Young Buck has been the focus, though, and I'm not sure this is quite the right decision. Tsuchi is sitting on the back. Young Buck is in the back line now. Lego My Ego putting down the damage on him. V-Power, in turn, is going to take some more damage and has flashed out. We do see the flash. Crescendo. Tsuchi in a lot of trouble now. He's going to get focused down very, very quickly if he stays in this situation. He's trying to keep himself alive, kiting this out. Has got that Bloodthirster, has got that lifesteal. Lego My Ego putting the Shock Blast in. Does look like it was a 1-for-2 in the favor of Samurai and Jeans, but they are low enough on health that they cannot really afford to push. And Glucose there, player. It's that funny game you end up playing with Caitlyn where playing with your allies when Caitlyn ults, where you're like, no, you, please, block. And you both try and move in the way, and you end up moving out of the way, and then you move back, and then you're like, oh, but it's fine. It worked out for them. They're okay. They're fine. It's all good. So, goal difference still now. Very, very equal between the two teams. It has remained much the same in, in this entire, in this entire game. Shockingly, I know, but they are just playing very, very cautiously. That last fight, though, I do have to say, may have been a spur of the moment call by someone like Pose, and I just don't think it worked out for them brilliantly. Focusing a lot of their cooldowns on Malphite, and as well, they just weren't. Tsuchi was not in the right position there to follow up. It meant he was out of range of Young Buck's retaliation, but it did also mean, serious problems for them. But they're going to pick up that dragon, so they will just walk out now. He's low on mana. I doubt they'll want to fight right now against All Authority. Are going to be okay, though. They don't really have, Samurai Engines, that is, don't really have much capability to force a fight without that Malphite ultimate available. I mean, the Xin could find someone, but it's a little bit too short of a range for his tastes. I suspect Unlimited has picked up another Oracle, is now clearing out that, and Pose still has yet to do so. So he's actually got a lot more gold, I suspect, effectively than Sona at this point. 5,800 on both of them, really, but he hasn't spent any of that gold on oracles, so that's 800 gold to go into extra aura items, but it has probably cost his team a little bit of map pressure several times now. And Samurai and Jeans are playing split push Malphite yet again. Do you see Young Buck in that bottom lane? Ultimate is available, teleport is available. He's going to continue to do that, I think, for some significant amount of time, until either Against All Authority can catch him out, or Samurai and Jeans can force a fight somewhere else. They can manage to do that, force someone to commit to stopping Malphite push, then they have a pretty good advantage. And you can see that Malphite is actually predicting that the duelists that will stop him will be physical damage. He's got a lot of armor there, and that is going to be just straight up him saying, I don't need to worry about Jace's damage or Ezreal's or Jarvan's. It's just not something I'm concerned about. And we do now see Oracles on post. So there we go. Going to be getting that little bit of extra vision control there. He's going to be able to walk on out. He's going to be heading towards that area to clear it out solo, which is a little bit dangerous. And he's just feeling a little bit paranoid himself there. Was kind of went in, warded, and was like, oh, do I want to stay? Maybe not, actually. I'll just make myself scarce. But anyway, that Oracle's very nice. And it's worth noting that one of the reasons Sona may have gotten that Oracles earlier than Thresh is that Thresh is a very all-in support, and they're very likely to die in team fights. If you start buying Oracles prematurely, that can get expensive. Sona can play a lot more defensively, a lot more passively, can just make sure that stuff is cleared and that she's still alive at the end of the fight. Still, we are seeing now Thresh heading towards that area. They will clean out the little tuft of brush that no one ever checks, except that they actually did for a change. And it does seem now that ward area will be cleaned. Unlimited now coming in as well. We do see Pose now. Actually, could be in a bit of an awkward spot here. He's going to get caught out very badly. Actually not, because his team was in the position to respond. Young Buck was not there, and that hook forced Ahri to ult. That is actually quite crucial, because that means that now there's a big team fight ultimate not available. Samurai and Jeans could be getting caught out here. We do have Jarvan standing around. We do also, though, see Young Buck taking that bottom tower. If Against All Authority can force a fight now, it's their victory. If they can't, then it's going to just be the continued Malphite push. So Samurai and Jeans need to play the pushing game, but they also need to play the defensive game. They cannot let them get engaged upon. If that happens, it could be disastrous for them, but they're playing it very well right now. They're just kind of playing this likening it to like a cat, like with one hand, like claws, and the deeper one claw goes, the less the other one gets like stuck in your flesh. Paws coming down. My metaphor is very confused, but essentially what I mean is that a cat doesn't necessarily do this, but if it did, then whatever. Reckless is lagging, apparently, in caps. So, I haven't got much to say, honestly. We're still on 12 kills, and I think we have been for about the last 4 minutes or so. And that just shows the slow pace of the game at the moment. Both teams are just jockeying for position. They're not fighting very much. Occasionally someone will go for something. I'm actually going to just jump to live. Someone just edited the TeamSpeak channel I'm in, and actually we are seeing an interesting play here from Against All Authority. I think we've seen them do this before. They can actually do Baron very, very easily if they have Elise on the team. I think they ran Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. Was it them? No, it was Mouz. Mouz did that, but Mouz, I think, ran a strategy where they had Spirit of the Spectral Wraith on Elise, and Elise's Spiderlings were doing an incredibly good job of tanking the Baron. Seeing the lag coming out again. So we saw Elise, as I mentioned, just tanking it out. And the 4 Spiderlings, so what she would do, she was the only one tanking Baron, and you had Karthus and you had Caitlyn DPSing over the wall to kill Baron. So what she did was she just literally used the Spiderlings to tank. So she would go in with the Venomous Bite, which would get all the Spiderlings in very close to Baron. Baron would then aggro, kill them all one at a time, take 4 shots. Then she would switch to human form. She'd be taking quite a lot of damage during that human form period, but she'd have that spell vamp, so she'd use that neurotoxin, which obviously does a lot of damage to Baron because it has a lot of health. It is capped, but it's still a lot of damage, and then you get a lot of spell vamp from that. Venomous Bite, she would essentially refresh the Spiderlings repeatedly, use those Spiderlings to tank, and that was impressive to watch because they did it very, very early on in the game as well. Very, very scary to play against, because it means that if you don't have vision on that Baron pit, you potentially risk losing it without ever even knowing, because it was only a 3-man Baron attempt. 2 people were visible on the map, showing themselves, and wow, and it was just scary to watch. And it was a play that stuck with me for a little while, actually, watching it, because it just shows you should always probably put a ward actually in the pit if you have an enemy in the enemy if the enemy has Elise. That's what I meant. Anyway, we do see now this continued pause. It's not ideal, but I think we may move into a quick break. I do need to take a drink. I have been speaking for the last half an hour and a bit there, so we'll just have a very brief pause. Hello ladies and gentlemen, that pause did just end a little bit sooner than I was predicting, but we did get underway sooner, which is always nice. I like getting underway, isn't that nice? Yeah, it's like having a ship that sails as opposed to sitting in a port. So we do have Kaostv now taking a little bit of damage there. A poke from Jace is starting to fall off a little bit. He's not doing quite the same damage he was early on with that. Being said, he's now got that Mirror Mana, and Hypercharge should be maxed at this point. In fact, he's level 18, so it must be maxed. Unless he's got a point in store, which is possible, but very unlikely. So Lego My Ego, poke falling off, but his all-in damage is now probably as high as it's ever been, assuming he's able to keep his mana up. But we do now see Poe's in a lot of trouble. Wraith jump save there. The Wraith cam was actually up this time, which made that play work, which was an improvement over the last attempt. However, We do now see continued jockeying for position, essentially. Lego My Ego will pick up that blue buff, and that's going to mean he has that mana, necessary for the Mirror mana procs, necessary for that all-in damage that was mentioned. We do see Malphite committing to that bottom lane. There's a very large creep wave, and he wants to clear that out. But we are now starting to reach a point in the game where 4v5 Baron attempts may not be so unrealistic. They're starting to get tankier, they're starting to get more sustain, and Baron will, by comparison, be falling off a little bit with the players at this point. So, we do see that Baron being stolen away, that blue buff being stolen away, and we do see Tsuchi now heading towards this top lane. Going to be putting, a little bit of damage across the wall, just spamming Qs, that's what Ezreal does. We do see Jace heading to that bottom lane. This is an interesting point to make, actually, about Samurai and Jean's composition. They actually, without Malphite is very much committed to split pushing at this point. This seems to be his raison d'etre at this point. That's what he's going to be doing for most of the rest of the game, so long as he has his teleport up. But the interesting thing is, without Malphite, they're having a bit of a problem actually engaging, and that's causing them some problems because the aim with split pushing is that they then create like a personnel disadvantage, that they then engage upon the enemy in a 4v5, and then Malphite teleports in to join the fight. But the thing is that right now, Malphite just doesn't actually... He's going to be meeting Lego My Ego, just going to be exchanging blows, just saying hi, just getting a little bit of damage. We do now see Kaostv coming in from the side. Charm doesn't land. Pose puts down the Flay. Flay actually does not land, but the hook does. V-Power is in a bit of trouble. We got that Malphite in the backline. We've got Tsuchi in a little bit of trouble, has been exhausted, forced to jump out of the fight, and this is a very split up fight. Now, Lego My Ego is putting up a lot of damage off the side, but Reckless is left more or less uncontested now, and he's going to be okay. Does pick up several kills there, triple kill in fact. That is not a good fight there for against All Authority. That is going to cost them seriously. Probably the Baron right now. Reckless going to be heading there. Lego My Ego will look to poke, I suspect, but he risks being baited out if he does so. He just does not know where they are, and in fact, he's just going to let that Baron go, I think, right about now. So, the problem was there that against All Authority, we're just very, very broken up. Tsuchi was forced out of the fight, and Reckless is now starting to hit that point where he is doing tons and tons of damage, and he's also got that Guardian Angel, makes him harder to focus out. Oh! He got it! Oh, he's a wizard! He's a goddamn wizard! He managed it! Oh my lord, with the shock blast. Oh, egg on your face, smiter. V-Power, I'm so sorry. But he got it. I can't believe it. So, anyway, that completely turns the outcome of that fight. Very good fight from against All Authority. They get the Baron for free. They did still lose the fight though, which was kind of a big deal. I'm sorry, I'm still reeling over that shock blast. Just pure. He didn't have vision. He didn't have a ward. He just fired it. He's like, oh sure, why not? It's not going to cost me it. Oh, I got it. But yeah, map hacks. There we go. We do see the dragon also being taken away, and that's still putting the goal difference slightly in the favor of Samurai and Jeans. I would not count them out just because they lost that Baron, but this is definitely time for Against All Authority to shine. If they can force fights now, that will put them in a good situation, but Reckless is very, very scary still. Has got, well, 3.5 AD carry items and a Guardian Angel. That makes him scary. It sounds like some kind of comedy troupe. 3.5 AD carry items and a Guardian Angel. No, 3 men in a boat. We do see Jace heading in towards this bottom lane, and it does seem like Guardian Angel is very much coming back into vogue today. We do see it on both Lego My Ego and Reckless, whereas before it was kind of not really seen too much outside of Season 2. Reckless does, in fairness though, on guys like Jace, who put down tons of damage but are very squishy, and guys like Caitlyn, who honestly, if they're going to get focused on at all, then the Guardian Angel is probably the best thing for them. Yeah, I definitely agree with that choice. It means that it's much, much harder to focus out either of those two characters, and it's working out well for them now. But we do see the Baron buff actually only on 2 people, so that's actually a significant factor that I had not noticed with the steal. Still a very nice steal, but it does mean that forcing fights is much less much less of a good idea for Against All Authority, because they can't just say, right, we've got this advantage and we're going to make something from it. Young Buck there is hiding behind that wall. I do not know if that flag spotted him out. It does actually look like he may just go in here, has put down the seismic shard. He's going to be putting down a little bit of damage, and we are now seeing just the back off. Nobody going for it. Nobody's willing. It feels like at the moment, whoever engages first in team fights is actually losing. So neither side actually kind of wants to, unless they can really catch someone out and burst them down. We are now seeing V-Power coming around the side. We do have the Oracles yet again on Unlimited, and he is clearing out the ward. The vision is going down. We do see the hook from Pose not quite landing. Blue buff going to be stolen away. That will hurt Jace. We do see the Ezreal ult coming across. We do see Amazing he actually going in. A little bit of damage on V-Power now. Young Buck backing out. Going to be just being careful here. But this has the potential to blow up at any second now. We do see the hook. Again, Ahri ultimate has been used. Amazing, he actually getting bursted down very, very low now. Is going to be going down any second. Ignite has gone down. Suchi going to be backing out. But that is the pick they wanted. Now, Samurai and Jean's definitely going to be pushing hard. Young Buck so tanky. He just does not. Wow, he's not even losing any health to that tower. And that is going to be another tower there for Samurai and Jean. Goal difference between the two teams increases. V-Power did take some damage, though. He's going to back out now. They're playing this very, very carefully. They just don't want to risk losing the game from foolhardy overextending, which has happened more than once to even the best teams out there. Still, it's it's tension this right now, because either side slipping up. If that had been Suchi that had been focused out there, that could have been truly disastrous. If that had been Lego My Ego, especially with the GA loss, that would be disastrous. But the same can be said if it goes the other way. We are now seeing the blue buff trying to be stolen away by Lego My Ego, but he may have overcommitted. He's going to be getting a lot of damage on him, forced to blow the flash. Glucose jumps over the wall, but he actually jumped back, and then Ezreal jumps over and takes the lantern back just to confuse me. And now we see Glucose trying to put down the stun, unable to do so, but the shock blast lands. That's actually forced them off very, very much so. They are now getting quite a lot of damage on Young Buck as well. And that has put, well, Against All Authority won the fight overall on health, but they are not so high on health that they can afford to stick around now. They're going to have to go back, surely. And I do not have the timers on my Baron and whatnot, because I do not yet have